Hey everyone, welcome to weekday coronavirus driven mind stuff. My name is George Ortega, and it is Monday, June 1st, 2020, and it is about 8:20 p.m. And this is episode number, I think I had it, but it's either 36 or 37. Let me just check for a minute. Episode number 37. And I'm a little kind of like disquieted by the demonstrations. It's young kids. It's basically young kids concluding that my generation is just not really looking out for their interests. I mean, the person, that guy, what's his name? Calvin, the police officer, is relatively young, but this problem isn't so much about him, it's about his superiors and about Trump and all. About the people in power. Anyway, so yeah, I don't have much to say right now. I just want to get this done because I have to open up my room at 9 o'clock, and it's an episode that's on happiness during these times of COVID-19 distancing, and it's not a show that I'm in the mood to do tonight because because I'm consumed with what's going on, but I suppose there's a way of addressing that in the right way, in a respectful way, healthy way. But what I do want to mention is, the one thing I want to say is so I saw the video of, what was happening. Then I just thought about it, of the police taking down George Floyd and, the Calvin with his knee on the man's neck. And what came to me is that that should never, ever have happened. And here's the reason why. There were four police officers. They had restrained him. Now, as soon as they physically restrained him, four against the one person, immediately, the first thing they should have done was put, if he's that, if he needed to be restrained that much, because apparently he was like resisting being put in the police car, whatever. But in a situation like that, instead of doing what they did, what that one guy did, and the three of them standing by, just not stopping him, what they should have done is taken a, what do you call it? One of those cable ties, that, or some kind of a handcuff, whatever. Basically, the idea is to cable tie or handcuff his hands and his feet, together. And, ideally his hands behind his back and his feet together. So once you do that, either with the cable ties that are very fast, whatever, and they're very light, the officers don't have to carry around these, because I imagine, they carry around 20 pounds of equipment, at least, I would imagine. So, once they do that, the man is immobilized. There's absolutely nothing else that needs to be done. I mean, if his feet are tied together, his hands behind his back, he's not going to go anywhere. That's the reality. And so the point is that the media should be talking about that. The police departments should have that across the board in every city, municipality throughout this country, throughout the world, really. That's the procedure for something like this. Again, you want to do the least amount of harm while restraining, and you want to restrain effectively. And so I guess I've lost a lot of confidence in this generation's ability to understand things like that, or if they understand things like that, to care enough to change things. And so I imagine, the kind of change that I would like to see isn't going to happen as soon as I'd like it to happen, but I am confident that it will happen. And and you have to keep things in perspective. I mean, life for so many people is so much better now than it was 200, 300, 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, in so many ways. And just to balance out, we're not near where we should be in a lot of areas. People should be healthier and happier. People shouldn't be sold products that compromise their health, unnecessarily, like so much sugar and the kinds of foods that they entice us with that aren't all that healthy for us. And then there's the media and violence, violence in the movies and video games, on television shows. So I will hope and expect that that the course has been set in motion. This COVID-19 is not going away, and I guess the kids are now activated by this murder. Really, I mean, maybe not meditated or intentional. What is it, manslaughter? I don't know what the term is if it's not intentional, but it's negligent enough. I mean, the officer, Calvin, Derek Calvin, must have been trained to understand that knee on the person's neck could result in the person's death. I mean, he had to have known that. So it's not that he can be excused, just in the terms of he being negligent. There may have actually been an actual intent to either do the person harm or to kill him, although he wouldn't admit it to anyone, either in or out of court. And that's, again, he's a victim to this too, all four are, they've all been fired, and they probably all will be tried and convicted. I mean, like, this may be the beginning of the change in policing that policing of people of color that has been long overdue. And it's kind of like in this time of COVID-19, it's to nobody's interest that people demonstrate like they have. And the only way to ensure that is to do the right thing, for the governments to do the right thing. And Trump, I mean, like, he's horrible. He should be in prison. The man should be in prison for the rest of his life. But basically, it's the way to prevent those kinds of events from happening is to not allow what happened to that man to happen. And all right, I'm talking more about this than I intended. It's the media's fault to a great extent. The media, what's it doing? It's covering all the different demonstrations across, 140 cities in the United States and all. It pretty much stokes that anger, but it doesn't, present these solutions. In other words, like the media, all the networks, the newspaper should be saying like exactly what I said earlier, that the procedure for restraining a person has to be when the person is restrained physically by, one or two or or 3 or however many police officers are needed to do the restraining, then again, a cable tie to the person's hands and to the person's knees, that is what needs to be done for their, safety as well as the safety of the police. And it's the least harmful means of restraining at that point. The person is not going to go anywhere with the person's, always, he's going to hop away. I don't think so, especially with his hands behind his back tied like that. And that would prevent any and all these kinds of instances from happening. We will see. All right. Well, I think I got a package today. I think it's my hair cutting kit, and it's not like I intend to use it, at least anytime soon. I intend to let my hair grow as much as it wants to. I've talked about this before. 3 out of the 4 times of great social change in the United States came when people had long hair, and religious prophets of all the different religions, had long hair. The traditional ancient prophets. In Judaism, apparently, there are no more prophets. Well, I don't know who would have decided. Yeah, whatever. So what else? So yeah, I gained a few pounds. I'm trying to I got this bag of tortilla chips. And that's kind of like my dinner tonight. I may have something else later. I don't know. But and I could have gone food shopping, but I wanted to get back and do this, record this episode. All right, so earlier today I was practicing my bass guitar, and I was practicing to Pink Floyd because their music is absolutely amazing. The only thing is it's very slow, often doesn't have much of a beat. And it's good, today was a time when I think, I appreciated the peacefulness of that music. It's very kind of like serene, somber in a way sometimes, but truly amazing. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, the 2 albums especially. I'd like to play a little more later, except, again, basically in about half an hour, I have to do the other show, and I don't even feel like, because I put the futon in bed position like it was before, and I have the mic and all, but I just, I don't want to do a sound test. I've got to put the cable into the USB audio device that I have, and adjust the mixer, sound levels and stuff. And I just don't feel like doing that, for tonight. So I guess for tonight I'll be here, doing the show from here, or the room, on happiness. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's a time of change, and maybe far greater change than we realize, at this point. And it may not be apparent until after Trump's defeated in November, and I suppose Biden becomes the president in January. But once that happens, we have to move on beyond Republican ideology. Their way of thinking is so harmful, so dangerous. An analogy is like when there were Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon men, people, you know, and the Neanderthals just went extinct because they probably weren't as intelligent or as virtuous. And so that's, you know, that's basically what needs to happen to the Republican Party. I mean, like, there's a group of people who collectively, you know, they don't get it. They just, you know, they don't get the need for compassion, for cooperation, for respect for science, for safeguarding the future for people, you know, for defending individuals, society against, you know, I mean, yeah, their philosophy of life is really, you know, at this point dangerous, you know, it really is. So like, let them, you know, lose in a historic way in November, and then 2 years after November, let them lose some more, and then let them reflect on what they want their party to be, because they have to like, they have to outgrow the hatred. They have to outgrow the disrespect for science. They have to outgrow this idea that, you know, a person can earn and have as much money as they can earn and have, regardless of everything. You know, like people in the world that do starve and don't have clean water and don't have medicine and all. This isn't just about the United States. This is about the entire world. And we need to evolve beyond that kind of dog-eat-dog, Darwinian, primitive, you know, and now very dangerous thinking. So let them go back to the drawing board and come up as a Republican Party. I mean, one thing they do well is they tend to be happier than liberals, than Democrats. Could be because they don't care about people beyond, you know, their reach, beyond those with whom they have contact. You know, whereas like, you know, a Democrat, we will care about people suffering in Africa and South America and Asia. We'll care about the plight of the animals. But even, I mean, you know, it's not, we have a long way to go on that also. I think though, like what happens is like if the Republican Party as it is now didn't exist, we Democrats would be much more compassionate because we wouldn't be afraid to be more compassionate. Many of the politicians are afraid to advocate for the right thing because people have been so corrupted by the Republican ideology. So anyway, turning this to God, you know, I have to constantly remind myself, well, this is all God's show. This is all God's, in other words, like we don't have a free will. Those Republicans don't have a free will. We Democrats don't. Nobody does. And so what explains everything is God apparently designed the world to be this way. And yeah, I could easily argue that it could have and should have, well, to my mind, you know, could have been made much, much better. Even to the extent of eliminating pain. I mean, like he could have created human beings, animals, you know, living beings, so that we just experience pleasure, happiness, love, goodness, and no suffering, no, you know, we'd all be virtuous. We wouldn't do what's wrong. But for whatever reason, you know, that didn't happen. That and you know, it's important to keep in mind that although the world has a lot of problems, we basically have a lot of blessings, a lot of blessings that we don't begin to you know, sufficiently appreciate. All right, about 8 minutes left. And I haven't been sleeping all that well. Last night, I think I maybe slept 4 hours, then woke up, was up, most of the day, and I was trying to meditate for a few of those hours, whatever. But then I was able, I think, to sleep about between 2 and 3. So I may have gotten 6 or 7 hours sleep, which, and yeah, tonight I'm definitely going to close the room at 11. I'm not going to stay past 11. That's, you know, yeah. What else? So I finally put all those clothes that were on, the edge of the bed and the new dresser that I bought, a drawer for like shirts and sweatshirts, another drawer for like shorts and, home pants, and another dresser for, I got 2 pair of jeans, a black pair of jeans and a blue pair of jeans in one drawer, and another one for something else. I don't know. So that works out. That's good. Like, you need to know that, right? All right. What else? Yeah, no. So actually, I'm getting close to feeling that I'm good enough. And oh no, here's what I did. I basically imported some songs that I had written and performed in the mid '90s to 2000, and I put them onto my mini iPad. That's where I, basically play my music from to jam to, and so yeah, what I want to do is, and these songs are, I sometimes don't sufficiently appreciate that the songs that I wrote are relatively good. They're a lot better than some of the songs, some of the melodies I hear from even the top bands. Maybe not a lot better, but certainly better. I mean, some of the top bands, for example, like Stairway to Heaven, there's so many songs that I don't think my songs compare to lyrically, melodically. But then again, it may be a matter of production. Be interesting that, like, if I got really good on bass and I became a sessions musician and I began to meet other musicians, it'd be great to go into a studio and produce, several albums with that music. I wouldn't mind also picking up a guitar again, not just limiting myself to bass, and writing and performing some new songs. That would be nice. I'm not sure it's going to happen. But what I'm going to do is, like, I will be, I'll be like, during these episodes, I'll be picking up the bass guitar, which is right here, uh, and and then playing one of the songs, and then just jamming to it, because again, I can do this with my songs. There's no copyright infringement, of course, and I would do it with the other songs, but there is copyright infringement. So yeah, there's about 50 songs that I've written. And I don't think I'll play all of them, but I'll probably play most of them. One song per episode, and I'll probably do it toward the beginning of each episode. And that'll be fun. All right, about 4 minutes left. So yeah, I don't know how many people are coming to my group later at 9, and again, it's 8:45. So yeah, I'm not going to, this has to process. I will probably take about 10 minutes to process, but I'm not going to upload it until later, until after 11, I guess, after I close the room. So yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about the world, about reality, is that we don't really know what's going to happen next. We can have some guesses, but this might have been the last straw for for this kind of police brutality, the kind of mindset that defends it, like Trump. We might have reached a tipping point where people have gotten so outraged and on top of dealing with this COVID-19 crisis, that finally things happened. And again, it's not just about the Republican Party just really being divested of a lot of power and needing to change. It's also about the Democratic Party, needs to be pulled much, much more to the left, meaning to be more compassionate, to be on the side of people, on the side of families, rather than on the side of corporations, and to create a world that is much, much better for everyone. We have the resources right now to do that, and the only thing that's stopping us from doing that is the people who have the money, the power. That is the holy grail of politics, getting money out of politics, so that the good can be done, will be done. Okay. So this again is the weekday coronavirus-driven mind stuff series that premiered on April 13th. So we've been doing this for almost 2 months. It's cablecast every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. on White Plains Community Media, the local cable TV show for White Plains TV studio station. And it's on, if you get Optimum cable. I don't get cable because I don't watch TV, but if you get cable, you can watch it on channel 76. If you get Optimum and channel 45, if you get Verizon, and if you miss an episode and you want to see an episode for whatever reason, they're all on the White Plains Community Media website. So I feel like eating a little something, maybe not. Oh, I bought, I want to try to eat more vegetables or fruits. I bought a big bag of blueberries. So I think I'm going to have some blueberries before I open my room in about 15 minutes. All right, about 17 seconds to go. I hope you guys are having a good day, maintaining your peace of mind, hope awakening your compassion, and I will see you again tomorrow.